Okay, I have been working through something and I want to talk about it because I think there are some of you in a space that's similar to me. And I think this framework or kind of help us understand the space between. And this is going to feel a little abstract, but if you're ready to hear this, it's going to make total sense, right? So, how do you know if you're in this space? You can call it a little bit of a dark night of the soul. You can call it a little bit of a transformation. You can call it letting go of one trapeze bar without yet having fully attached to the next. Whatever that liminal weird space is, if you're in that space, I want to talk about it. Okay, save this, watch it a few times. We're going to work through it together. My name is Trish Law. I'm a trauma informed life coach. And one of my favorite things about this work is I do not have this all figured out. I don't think you should ever hire somebody who seems like they have everything figured out. I certainly don't. I am a student just as much as I'm a teacher. And I never, ever in a million years want you to think that's not true for me. Make sense? Okay. So here's me right now. I am the black sheep of my family. And all drama aside, it was so funny because maybe 3 Christmases ago, my brother will attest to this. We're sitting at my mother's table at her house, and it's myself, my 2 brothers. Of course, I only have 2 brothers. That's no girls. I'm the only girl. Shocking. And my brother, Jimmy, who is one of my favorite people in the world, he's sitting there and we're having a glass of wine or whatever. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm the black sheep of this family." And my mother goes, "No, you're not. Your sister is." So just so we're clear on these roles, that's 100% not only just a joke, but it's the reality. So that was my role in my family, in my immediate family. Like, I was the problem. I was the one with the problems. I am the problem. Scapegoats are really important for family dynamics and for the collective as well. It's where all the unprocessed shit from the family goes onto that one person. And the scapegoat usually internalizes a lot of shame. But the benefit of being the scapegoat is it's easier to heal because the system never benefited you in the first place. I think it's harder for the golden child to heal, but that's another post altogether. So that's one archetype that I've really had to spend a lot of time healing from. Scapegoats, because they're outliers in their family systems, often turn into entrepreneurs, leaders, agents of change. It's an outlier. It's just an outlier in a different way, right? So every archetype that we have in our family structure and in our life has certain drawbacks and benefits. This is why self-awareness fucking matters. Okay. So I'm like, I'm a scapegoat, poor me. I'm like, I'm a scapegoat and I'm fucking can thank my business success for being a scapegoat, which is to keep it on the up and up. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be a victim about this. I can maintain my sense of humor despite the copious amounts of therapy I've needed and the catastrophic levels of internalized shame. Okay. I can maintain my sense of humor despite all that. So that's one identity that I was sort of branded with in my family that I had to become aware of, understand what it was really about for me. And I had to work on that. I had to work on healing that. And that was a lot of the first level of my work. And it was pretty dark, especially when you're not conscious of it. It's like, oh God. And it's like I said, real easy to get caught in a victim loop with that. And I probably did for a while. I don't feel like that anymore. But the opposite side of a very similar coin is I have another archetype that I've realized seems like it's in diametric opposition to the scapegoat, but it isn't. And I've just become aware of this working on I have a coach, I have a therapist, and a spiritual director. This has been true across the boards with all 3 of those people that I hire to help support me understand myself better. And the other archetype I've noticed that I adopt or have adopted is I always have to have the upper hand. Always. I'm the boss. I'm typically the leader. I am the one in charge of things. I am the breadwinner. I do it with my appearance. I'm just being honest. Having the upper hand is something I've realized that I have a pattern with in my relationships, in my businesses, and in other aspects of my life. So it's this thing that sets me apart from the norm or from the group. And it's not, if you think about it, it's almost like a different iteration or maybe even an inversion of being a scapegoat. So if I'm feeling powerless, adopting the identity of the scapegoat is where I can go. And I'm usually financing that role by shame and unworthiness and a deep self-loathing. On the other side of the same coin, I can just be the boss, take the upper hand, be in charge, be the breadwinner, be the cute girl, like be the funniest, whatever, be the best. And it feels at a level more powerful. But like I said, these are just two opposite sides of exactly the same egoic coin, okay? And I've just become painfully aware of this, that no pattern in your life exists for no reason. Any pattern that we see repeating in ourselves, whether it's socially acceptable or socially detrimental, has a payout. And the payout, if we're looking at it from a patterns perspective, is certainty, control, and whatever identity that we can embody in order to get the certainty and the control, we'll do it, whether it's being a piece of shit or whether it's having the upper hand. I got a PhD in both, ironically. So in my healing, I'm at this space where I am realizing how problematic both of these things can be. I've realized this about the scapegoat part of me. I've really done a lot of work on that. Having the upper hand, this has been breathtakingly difficult for me. Pulling rank, my pretty privilege, my quick wit, being a breadwinner, being the boss, being in charge, these are all socially acceptable. Socially acceptable trauma responses are the hardest ones to heal from. So I'm going through a transitionary phase in my life, right? Transition, whether it's the transition of something that's really horrible is difficult, the transition into something really wonderful is difficult. Anything that's going to collapse your identity, whether you're moving from the person that was pregnant to being a mother, or the person that was an employee to being a business owner, or the person that was a daughter into being an orphan, it's a very difficult transition. Any big change in your life that's going to reorganize your identity is going to bring up and stir up a lot of uncomfortable shit. Now, anytime we're uncomfortable, our ego is going to try to assign some role or identity or behavior pattern to help us get certainty despite that disruption in the nervous system, which is a normal part of growth, transition, identity reorganization, and transformation. I'm in a moment of transformation right now because my business is having a big upswing. It's exciting. It's terrifying. There are parts of me that are not going to make it through the door of where I'm going next. And one part that's not going to make it through the door of where I'm going next, if I really want to grow as an individual and have the kind of partnerships I know I want, is the part of me that always has to have the upper hand. I am now aware of that. And once I know it, I can't unknow it. Okay, so I'm in this level of discomfort. I'm feeling all these feelings, and I just want to start pulling rank, like real bad. And I got a little, like, I'm tough. Like, I will pull rank quick. And what I've realized, for me to transform, I can't go back to scapegoat. I can't come and take the upper hand. But there's this part of me, someplace in the middle of these two extremes I've never seen before. And I call that my point of power. Not surrendering my power like a scapegoat, and not misusing my power like needing the upper hand, a different kind of power in myself which I've never seen before. It's kind of like the goo. When you're not a caterpillar, but you're not a butterfly either, you're like in the gooey chrysalis. Now let me be really honest with you. There's nothing we can do in this liminality. We just have to be in the goo of it. And we can watch ourselves vacillate between feeling like we're a piece of shit in this case or needing to have the upper hand and not going for that, which is a really transformational place where a new part of us is trying to emerge, a part of us that we may have never seen before. That's the space I'm in right now. In other words, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of confusion, and a lot of discomfort, but not a lot of a solid identity yet that's integrated. Think of it as like this identity is now buffering. You know when the little things spin on your phone? Kind of like that. And it's annoying to see it on your phone. It's even more annoying when it's happening in your nervous system. So if you're in that space, the buffering is doing stuff. We don't really have to do the nervous system. The nervous system does us. So what we have to do is get really good at being in that in-between buffering stage. And from the way I've heard it, you'll receive your coordinates from there, but not a second sooner. It's okay to be in the goo. You don't have to have it figured out yet. Make sense? Good talk. Those who get this will understand exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry it was long, but it needed to be. I love you. I see you. I'll see you in the goo. I'll see you tomorrow.